My name is Margaret Hayes, and I'm 72 years old. For 47 years, I believed I knew what love looked like. I was wrong. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon in late September. I remember because the maple trees outside our kitchen window were just beginning to turn gold, the way they had every autumn since Robert and I bought that house in 1978. I had stopped by unexpectedly. Robert was at his accounting firm, or so I thought. Our son, Derek, was supposed to be at work too. He managed a car dealership across town, but when I walked into my own kitchen that afternoon, I found Derek, and I found Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, Robert's wife of 47 years, standing there in my kitchen, kissing my son, not a peck on the cheek, not a friendly hug, kissing him the way a woman kisses a man she loves. I must have made a sound. They pulled apart, faces flushed. Vanessa's eyes went wide. Derek looked defiant. "Mom," he said. "Just that." Just Mom stood there, grocery bags still in my hands, a carton of eggs, a loaf of bread, simple things for a simple lunch I planned to make for my husband. "How long?" I asked. Vanessa started crying. Derek put his arm around her shoulders, protecting her from me, his mother. 3 years, he said. 3 years. While I'd hosted birthday dinners and Christmas mornings, while I'd knitted blankets for their first grandchild, while I'd believed in the sanctity of my family. "Does Robert know?" I asked. Derek laughed. Actually laughed. "Dad doesn't notice anything, Mom. He's too busy with his golf games and his buddies." The cruelty of it took my breath away. Not just the affair, not just the betrayal, but the mockery, the dismissal of his father, my husband, as if Robert were some joke they'd shared over pillow talk. I set down my groceries very carefully on the counter. "Get out of my house," I said. "Mom, we need to talk about this." "Get out." They left. I stood in that kitchen for a long time, watching the light change through the maple leaves. That evening, Robert came home at 6:30, like always. He kissed my cheek, like always. He asked about my day, like always. I looked at this man I'd built a life with. We'd been 18 when we met, 20 when we married. We'd struggled through lean years when his practice was new. We'd celebrated when Derek was born. We'd held each other through the loss of my mother, his father, the small griefs and large joys that make up a marriage. "How was your day?" I asked him. "Oh, the usual," he said. "Jim Patterson's portfolio is doing well. Had lunch with the Rotary Club. I served dinner, pot roast, his favorite. The next morning, called a locksmith. Then I called a real estate agent named Patricia Chen. She had a kind face in her photo on the website. I need to sell a house, I told her. Quickly and quietly. Of course, Patricia said. Is this your primary residence? It's in my name only, I said. My father gave me the down payment when we bought it. My husband's name was never on the deed. Robert didn't know this. In 1978, my father had been old-fashioned. He wanted to make sure his daughter would always have security, no matter what. So he'd given me the money as a gift, and the house was mine alone. Robert had signed papers at closing, but they were acknowledgement forms, not ownership documents. He'd never looked closely, never thought to ask. I'd never thought it would matter. Over the next week, while Robert was at work, I met with Patricia. The house was worth $800,000. The neighborhood had grown up around us, young families prizing the good schools and tree-lined streets. I accepted an offer within 5 days, all cash, closing in 3 weeks. I packed Robert's things carefully. His clothes, his golf clubs, his collection of vintage jazz records. I labeled each box with his name in clear black marker. I didn't pack my things. This house might legally be mine, but I didn't want it anymore. Every room held memories that had curdled into lies. Derek's first steps in the living room, family Christmases, the kitchen where I'd found him betraying everything I'd taught him about honor and fidelity. The day before closing, I had the locks changed. I left Robert's boxes stacked neatly in the garage, which opened from the outside. That evening, I made dinner again. Chicken parmesan, another favorite. "Robert," I said over coffee, "I need to tell you something." He looked up from the newspaper. Still handsome at 70, silver-haired and distinguished. Derek is having an affair with Vanessa, I said. The newspaper slipped from his hands. What? For 3 years. I caught them. Here. In our kitchen. His face went gray. Margaret? Are you sure? I'm sure. I watched him process it. The betrayal of his son, his wife, the family he'd worked so hard to provide for. Where is Derek now? He asked finally. I don't know. I told them both to leave. Robert stood up, paced to the window. The maple trees were fully gold now, burning bright in the October sunset. We need to talk to him, Robert said. We need to understand. No, I said. We don't. I told him then. About the house. About the sale. About the closing tomorrow. You sold our house? My house, I said gently. It was always in my name. Do you remember? He stared at me like I'd spoken in a foreign language. But where will we? Margaret, this is our home. It was our home, I said. Until our son decided to make it something else. What about me? His voice broke. Did I do something wrong? This was the moment I'd been dreading. Because Robert hadn't done anything wrong. He'd been a faithful husband, a devoted father. He'd worked hard and loved deeply and built a life he was proud of. But he'd also been oblivious. Derek was right about that. Robert had spent our marriage focused on work, on providing, on the external markers of success. He'd missed the smaller things. The gradual cooling between Derek and Vanessa. The way Derek had started making excuses to visit us alone. The 2 long looks. The 2 casual touches. I'd missed them too. Until I couldn't anymore. You get. To start over, I told Robert. Your boxes are in the garage. The equity from the house is mine. But I'm not cruel. You have your retirement accounts. Your practice. You'll be fine. But we're married, he said. We're supposed to work through things together. Our son slapped me, I said. The words came out flat, emotionless. Not physically, but he slapped me with his betrayal, his mockery, his complete disregard for what we taught him. And Vanessa laughed. She stood in my kitchen, in the house I opened to her, and she laughed. I took a breath. You can forgive that if you want to, Robert. You can spend the rest of your life trying to understand it, to fix it, to make it right. But I won't. I'm 72 years old, and I don't have time left to waste on people who think so little of me. The next day, the closing happened. Patricia handed me a check. $800,000. Robert called me 17 times. I didn't answer. Derek called too. He left voicemails, angry at first, then pleading. Vanessa called crying, saying, I didn't understand, that love was complicated, that I was cruel to put Robert out. I blocked all their numbers. I bought a small condo in a retirement community in Arizona. 2 bedrooms, lots of light, a view of the mountains. I joined a book club. I learned to play bridge. I made friends who didn't know me as Robert's wife or Derek's mother, just Margaret. 6 months later, Patricia called me. I thought you'd want to know, she said. The family who bought your house. They love it. They have 3 little girls. The youngest is learning to ride a bike in the driveway. I thought about those maple trees, about new memories being made in rooms that had held so much pain. Thank you for telling me, I said. A year passed. Then too, I dated a kind man named George who made me laugh. I traveled to places I'd always wanted to see. I discovered that I liked my own company, my own choices, my own life. On my 75th birthday, my phone rang. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Derek's voice. Older, tired. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I've been in therapy. Vanessa and I are divorced. Dad and I barely speak. I lost my job. And I realized that the day you walked into that kitchen, I lost you too. I sat on my balcony, watching the sunset paint the Arizona mountains. Pink and gold. You didn't lose me that day, I said. You threw me away. There's a difference. I know, he said. I know that now. Good, I said. I hope that knowledge serves you well. I hung up. I don't know if that was cruel. Maybe it was. But I've learned something in these years since I sold that house and bought my freedom. Kindness to others can't come at the cost of cruelty to yourself. I forgave myself for not seeing sooner. I forgave myself for the marriage that wasn't perfect, for the son who disappointed me, for the life that didn't turn out the way I'd planned. But I didn't forgive the betrayal. And I don't have to. I'm 75 now. I drink my coffee on my balcony every morning. I watch the mountains change color with the seasons. I live in a space that's entirely mine, filled with choices that serve my peace. And sometimes, when the light is just right, I think about that house, about maple trees and kitchen windows, and the girl I was when I first walked through those doors, hand in hand with the boy I loved. She didn't know everything then, but she learned. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's simply walking away from people who don't deserve your presence. Sometimes it's selling a house and buying yourself a new life. And sometimes that's enough.